In this video, I'll show you January 2nd, 2024, Officer Cheryl Dickerson of the Roswell Police Department in Roswell, Georgia, noticed a golf cart driving down Highway 9 through the middle of town. Officer Dickerson initiates a traffic stop on the golf cart and discovers a young man.
You're driving around in your mom's vehicle?
Yeah, I asked her if I could borrow it. She works at the Roswell.
At the Roswell what?
Up there. So yeah, I asked her if I could borrow it for a few minutes. And she said, yeah, just be safe. And
Okay, you understand that you cannot drive a golf cart down the road, roadway.
I really didn't understand that. So
How old are you?
I'm 13.
You're 13?
Is that wrong?
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Like a car could slam into the back of you, not realizing
Do
you're...
you want me to like to drive around?
Well, hold on. What, do you have ID on you or anything like that? What are you doing out here at 13 years old?
I'm going to Starbucks.
You're going to Starbucks? Where does your mom work?
She works up at Roswell. I'm just...
At Roswell what?
Like, down there at Roswell.
Where does she work? What's the name of the
The
business?
apartments. The Roswell apartments. She, like, is manager over there.
Officer Dickerson orders the young man out of the golf cart and detains and searches him before placing him into the back of her patrol car. Suspects who have not reached the state-mandated age of majority are subject to a different criminal justice system than adults. The idea behind having a separate juvenile justice system for minors who commit crimes is that they're young and have a better chance of straightening out their lives than adults. The procedures for detaining a minor vary from state to state, but most police officers are well within their authority to handcuff a minor and place them into their patrol car. In Georgia, a youth may be taken into custody if there are reasonable grounds to believe that he or she has committed a delinquent act or a status offense, or if they have been abused or neglected. Neither of these events is considered an arrest, so the youth can legally claim never to have been arrested. This claim is true as long as the youth's only contact with the criminal justice system is through the juvenile court. Given that Officer Dickerson witnessed this young man driving a golf cart down a major highway, she does retain the legal authority to stop and detain him until she can release him to a legal guard. Officer Dickerson spends several minutes questioning the young man about where he got the golf cart and attempting to locate his mother. The teen changes his story several times throughout the questioning, and Officer Dickerson is unable to get any legitimate information out of him. Eventually, Sergeant Daniel Elsey arrives on the scene and decides to employ some questionable tactics.
I can ask you for a few minutes.
Oh.
Your mother's name, your mother's phone number, and the address where you live. You understand that? Click on it.
Sorry.
Click on it. Shut up. I'm just going to move all the way. Facilitate a little. Do you think for a few minutes? Where you live, and I'll be back with you in a minute.
Sergeant LZ gets into Officer Dickerson's patrol car and turns the heater off and rolls down the windows while the teen is still handcuffed in the back seat. It has been reported that the temperature in Roswell was somewhere between 12 to 18 degrees on the night of this interaction.
Officer Dixon, you can cop in my passenger seat for a few minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, he ain't gonna say anything if it's warm.
If what?
I said he ain't gonna say anything if he's up there in the back seat and it's warm.
Oh.
So he can sit over there and be cold.
Well, okay.
That's why I rolled your windows down.
Oh.
That's fine.
And
Give me a few minutes to think about it.
Should I call an 85 for the golf cart?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let him get a little chill. Maybe that'll work. Oh, he's gone. All right, partner, what's your name? I'm sorry? Getting cold yet, Anthony? You can take it? Cool. So can I. Because I've got heat in this car. So here's where we're at. With the Roswell Police Department. Look at me when I'm speaking to you. My name is Sergeant Elsey with the Roswell Police Department. Okay? You can't be driving a golf cart in the streets. You understand that, right? I'm pretty sure that's not your golf cart. Is that fair to assume? Where did you get the golf cart from? What school? Yeah, I can see your breath. It's pretty cold back there. Keep telling me. Speaking of, what's Mom's name? You don't know Mom's phone number. All right, well, I'll tell you what. I'm gonna drive to this address you gave me. You live in Alpha. To this address. You gotta hang tight right here, since you can't remember Mom's phone number. And if I can make contact with Mom, then we'll get some heat going.
He's freezing him out. He's about to drive to the address that he gave, and Mom will turn the heat on in the car.
Cold out there.
It's chilly,
Bravo
chilly.
3 signal 18 for wrong way driver.
Aw, man.
On the part of Cincinnati.
Is it cold in the car, you're asking?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's freezing in there.
They can make their
Well, he's got all the windows rolled down and the heat off.
The Eighth Amendment of the Constitution bans the use of cruel and unusual punishment within the jurisdiction of the United States. The phrase cruel and unusual punishment is derived from common law and describes punishment that is considered unacceptable due to the suffering, pain, or humiliation it inflicts on the person subjected to the sanction. The precise definition varies by jurisdiction, but typically abides by the same general principles. In the 1972 Supreme Court case of Furman v. Georgia, Justice William Brennan outlined 4 principles by which the court may determine whether a particular punishment is cruel and unusual. The punishment may not be degrading to human dignity. The punishment must not be arbitrary in nature. The punishment must be one that is accepted by society as a whole. And number 4, the punishment may not be patently unnecessary. Justice Brennan noted that, quote, the test will ordinarily be a cumulative one if a punishment is unusually severe, if there is a strong probability that is inflicted arbitrarily, if it is substantially rejected by contemporary society, and if there is no reason to believe that it serves any penal purpose more effectively than some less severe punishment. Then the continued infliction of that punishment violates the command of the clause that the state may not inflict inhuman and uncivilized punishments upon those convicted of crimes. After the young man had sat in the freezing patrol car for nearly 20 minutes, Sergeant Greg Friesen arrives on the scene, pulls Sergeant Elsie aside, and informs him that his conduct is not acceptable. Promptly, after his discussion with Sergeant Friesen, Sergeant Elsie returns to Officer Dickerson's patrol car and rolls the windows back up and turns on the heater.
Huh? Stay over here. Are they having some super secret?
Well, we're going to be on our way, okay? We'll see you in a few minutes.
The officers where he lived, and the officers took him home and released him into his mother's custody. The officers towed the golf cart but were never able to locate its owner. Several months after the incident, a memo was leaked revealing that a fellow Roswell officer raised questions about Sergeant Elsie's conduct in March of 2018. But internal documents acquired by the 11 Alive news team revealed that Sergeant Elsie was never punished following the incident, despite the fact that Lieutenant Bernie Holland, who was Sergeant Elsie's supervisor, reviewed the body camera footage shortly after the incident took place. In fact, Sergeant Elsie was awarded Supervisor of the Year in April of 2018, and although the award was for 2017, the Internal Awards Committee made its decision in late January of 2018, just weeks after this encounter. The documents obtained by the 11 Alive news team also revealed that Roswell PD supervisors scored Sergeant Elsie higher than Sergeant Friesen on their annual review, while acknowledging that Sergeant Friesen correctly intervened in Sergeant Elsie's act of misconduct. Official investigation was launched into Sergeant Elsie's conduct until the 11 Alive team requested the body cam footage of the incident 7 months after it occurred. Roswell Police Chief Rusty Grant initially requested the Georgia Bureau of Investigations take over the investigation, but the GBI refused to take the case and recommended that the Fulton County District Attorney carry out the investigation. Sergeant Elsie has been placed on administrative leave pending the results of the ongoing investigation. Overall, Sergeant Elsey gets an F for his unethical and potentially legal tactics and abusing his police authority and supervisory powers. There is simply no excuse for Sergeant Elsey's conduct. But what is even more disturbing is the fact that the Roswell Police Department appeared to have no intentions of investigating or punishing the sergeant until the 11 Alive team requested the footage of the encounter. To add insult to injury, the RPD's supervisory team decided that Sergeant Elsey was a better officer than Sergeant Friesen, despite knowing about the incident and Sergeant Friesen's role in stopping the misconduct. The lack of administrative action against Sergeant Elsey highlights the level of corruption plaguing the Roswell PD, and this is not the first time the department has been involved in similar scandals. The department was also criticized for its role in the arrest of a driver on the flip of a coin, the muting of police body cameras during a suspected DUI stop of an off-duty officer, and a police canine attack of a 17-year-old suspect against the commands of the dog handler. Roswell City Council recently approved spending $77,000 of taxpayer money for an outside review. To find out what exactly is wrong with the department and have independent consultants recommend changes. The complacency of the other officers on the scene of this encounter is a testament to the depth of the corruption allegations facing the department, and it will be interesting to see what the independent consultants recommend. Until then, I highly recommend checking out the description below and following up on the investigation through the 11 Alive team's coverage. Sergeant Friesen and the 11 Alive news team both get an A+ because without their intervention, it is very likely that, and Elsey would still be patrolling the streets of Roswell and abusing his authority with impunity. Corruption and misconduct rarely exposes itself from within departments, and it is the duty of good officers and respectable journalists to expose that corruption and hold the appropriate officials accountable for their actions. As this country slowly edges closer to sweeping police reform, upstanding officers and journalists are becoming an extremely valuable asset within the national dialogue of police misconduct, and it is more important now than ever that their voices be heard. Commend Sergeant Friesen for his courage to step forward and put a stop to the misconduct playing out before him, and I commend the 11 Alive news team for their relentless demands for the truth and accountability. Thank you very much for watching the video. Subscribe our channel for next video.